من الان رسیدم ترکیه. بازا بدبختی، اصلا حال رویم خوبی نیست. همه رو دارن میکشن، همه رو دارن میکشن، بچه ها رو همه رو دارن میکشن، همه رو دارن میکشن. بیرحمانه دارن چراغا رو خاموش کردن، هر کاری دلشون میخواد دارن میکنن. من پروازم کنسل شده بود از پروازهای خارجی تهران به خارج از ایران، خارجی ها همه کنسل شده. و بدبختی یه پرواز ایرانی پیدا کردم. حالا روی مثلا خوب نیست. این خارج از ایرانه، من یه قطرم توی اقیانوس فقط میتونم حس آنمو بهتون بگم. جهنم رو دیدم تو ایران، این چند روز جهنم رو دیدم. گناه داریم، خیلی گناه داریم، خیلی گناه داریم. میشه ما کمک بگیریم؟ نمیدونم، تشکر نمیدونم چطوری میتونیم وقتی کمک بگیریم. کوه دارن غرقم میکنن تو سر سینه، شلیک مستقیم، بیرحمانه دارن میکشن همه رو.
A calling out from Reza Pahlavi, an exiled political figure from Iran, for global demonstrations in solidarity with the people of Iran on February 14. It happened after some Iranians united themselves to manifest against conditions there, such as economic engulfment, repression, and after all, against the whole repressive regime. Those people manifesting have been highly repressed. There are thousands of killed, hurt, and imprisoned people. I'd like to talk about our role in crises like this. I'm not Iranian. I won't speak for the Iranian people because their struggle is theirs to narrate. And I don't want to be disrespectful here. But as a global citizen, I can talk about the space we occupy as humans. So today I'll talk about the empathy and responsibility that's within everybody's reach. I'll talk about how our everyday ethics and our political choices actually make differences. So I'd like to start talking about intrinsic privileges. The simple fact that you're watching this video in relative safety, probably not fearing for your immediate physical security because of your political opinion, is a form of geographic privilege. Not because some places are naturally better or worse than others, but because some groups of people in power represent an immediate threat to other groups, depending on the groups and on where you are in the world. Which leads us to the myth of meritocracy. This is pretty much the idea that success comes almost exclusively from effort and competence. But even inside a country or city, if we question the randomness of birthplace, like whether someone's born in a peaceful suburb or in a region engulfed in political turmoil, the meritocracy narrative doesn't make any sense. There's a quote I like by Denis Lehane that says, "Sympathy is easy. You have sympathy for starving children swatting at flies on late night commercials. Sympathy is easy because it comes from a position of power. Empathy is getting down on your knees and looking someone else in the eye and realizing you could be them, and all that separates you is luck." To close this first matter, I'll leave here a charge to bring some reflection about empathy and humility in our worldview. We are inside a society and it has its values. How much of those values do we actually question and reflect upon? How much of the media coverage shape our perspectives? How much of what we think is based upon prejudice? And this matters because this is where we have power to act within our spheres. Because real culture change doesn't start in parliament, it starts small, in group chats among friends and families bringing these topics up. And to be honest, I don't believe that knowing details about, for example, ongoing conflicts such as Gaza, Iran, Syria, or whatever it is should be one's obligation. The goal isn't to lecture people about those issues. What cannot happen is for us to remain quiet after hearing generalized or prejudiced comments about societies. So I believe our goal here is to exercise care and concern for human rights as a universal value. My plea here with this video is for us not to be silent people. Our silence isn't silent. Even if you don't know people living under situations like this, don't be silent in your daily life. Care is in action. Do not reduce people to stereotypes such as their ethnicity, income, sexuality, appearance, or whatever it is. Do not fall into meritocratic narratives that claim that some people have access to better things just because they put more effort. The prospect of someone's life is highly dependent on the context they're born in. Don't be afraid to kill the mood in your group of friends if the cost of being pleasant is participating in prejudice. Don't be compliant. Stereotypes kill. If not literally, it kills people's dignity, opportunity, and connection. This is serious. So don't let silence make suffering invisible. It's important for people to say their truths. And it's very important that people listen. Public opinion is powerful when it's channeled into political demand. Wars are highly dependent on public opinion. This happened, for example, in the Vietnam War, in which the USA progressively withdrew its troops because of the shock in its population. I put the famous picture here named The Terror of War that illustrates this as an example. But pressure nowadays can look as simple as 1. Not contributing with the perpetuation of prejudice. Be critical over comments and jokes, as we talked about. 2. Voting consciously. Research your representatives' policies on human rights before voting. Not engaging politically is still a position in the political system. And that structure fundamentally benefits some groups in spite of others. If you're apolitical, that means you can afford to be neutral because politics doesn't threaten your daily survival. If someone's rights and safety are constantly at stake, of course rage comes easier. It's a rage for survival. So let's understand that for a lot of people, politics isn't optional. And 3, supporting media in developing countries. Since we're talking about Iran today and showing support for Iran, I'll leave below as an example and an invitation a link to the movie Persepolis by Marjan Satrapi. This movie, which a few years ago was easily found available on YouTube for free, nowadays, coincidentally, can't be found anywhere anymore. It's not a matter of money. The movie simply disappeared from all platforms. It's been an Oscar nominee, and it's the autobiographical story of Marjan, an Iranian woman who tells her perspective upon many things, such as the downfall of the previous regime, upon the Iran-Iraqi war, upon repression both as an Iranian citizen and a woman in Iran, upon the prejudice she endured abroad. So it's very interesting. I recommend this movie. Now, the call for solidarity on February 14 isn't just about one day or one place. It's a test of our own ethics and care and concern for one another. I'll close out this video by reading a poem by the Palestinian poet Marwan Makal. To write non-political poetry, I must listen to the birds. And to hear the birds, the warplanes must fall silent. Raise your voices in whatever contexts you're in. Don't be passive, people. Because as Thomas Merton wrote, we do not become fully human until we give ourselves to each other in love.